For 49 years, Voyager 1 has silently drifted through the cosmos, far beyond the outer limits of our solar system. It remains the most distant human-made object in existence, still transmitting data from over 14 billion miles away. A lone emissary of the space age, it runs on fading plutonium, and perhaps something more intangible: hope. But recently, something unexpected happened. Without receiving any commands, Voyager 1 altered its trajectory. Just days prior, it had begun emitting a strange rhythmic signal, an eerie low-frequency hum with a mathematical cadence. It wasn't random noise or interference. It was a pattern. Now, NASA is racing to understand what Voyager has encountered in the cold, silent void between the stars. Because whatever lies out there may not be natural, it may not be random, and it may not be alone. This isn't just another space anomaly. It might be the beginning of something humanity was never meant to uncover. In the early hours of a quiet Tuesday morning in 2023, Dr. Margaret Chan, a veteran of the Voyager program since its inception, was analyzing routine telemetry from the spacecraft when something caught her attention. It was a new signal, subtle, faint, but unmistakably structured. A pulsing hum buried deep within Voyager's standard data stream. At first, engineers assumed it was a glitch. After all, the spacecraft is nearly 5 decades old. But further analysis dismissed that possibility. The signal wasn't random. It followed a distinct rhythm, repeating sequences of prime numbers. It behaved like information. As the signal persisted, multiple antennas in NASA's deep space network confirmed its presence. Voyager wasn't just detecting something, it might have been communicating with it. Whatever this was, it responded with structure, with intelligence. Then came the event that no one could explain. Voyager fired its thrusters. According to mission logs, no command had been sent. Yet, its attitude control system executed a slight, deliberate maneuver. The probe shifted, not toward Earth, not toward the Sun, but toward an unremarkable region of space. A direction devoid of known stars, galaxies, or celestial objects. It was as if Voyager had been summoned. The change in trajectory was minimal, but precise, far too accurate to be accidental. Engineers at JPL conducted simulations, ran diagnostics, and scoured legacy code to search for any automated sequence that might explain the adjustment. Nothing fit. This wasn't a drift or malfunction. The thruster firing was controlled, coordinated, intentional. Voyager had turned its long-dormant camera array, unused since 1990, toward a region of the sky we'd never had reason to observe. But Voyager did. In the days that followed, the strange hum grew clearer. Not louder, but more refined, more ordered. Recursive mathematical sequences began to appear. Symmetrical patterns, geometric ratios, none of which could be explained by natural phenomena like cosmic radiation or magnetic interference. Some of these sequences even mirrored portions of Voyager's own radio handshake protocol, as though something out there was mimicking its language, or answering in it. The aging mission team, many older than the spacecraft itself, gathered in quiet disbelief. One described the experience as hearing a knock on a door you forgot existed, and Voyager had just opened that door. As signal analysis intensified, something truly unsettling was discovered. Hidden within the modulation of the hum were patterns bearing a striking resemblance to segments of the Arecibo message, a radio transmission humanity sent into space in 1974 in the hope of reaching intelligent life. The resemblance wasn't exact, but it was undeniable. This revelation split the scientific community. Some insisted the probe had passed through a complex magnetic field or an unknown plasma structure, distorting its electronics. Others, more quietly, began to suspect Voyager had encountered something not natural, something deliberate. NASA issued a cautiously worded statement citing unusual data requiring further analysis. Behind closed doors, however, cryptographers, AI experts, and astrophysicists were consulted. Classified meetings were held. And within the halls of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, One unspoken question loomed. Was Voyager receiving a message? Or was it being scanned? Weeks passed. Voyager remained stable in its new orientation. The hum continued, its patterns growing increasingly complex. They echoed structured thought. Yet NASA remained silent. The real shift wasn't out in space, it was here on Earth. Independent observatories, amateur astronomers, and private research labs began detecting subtle electromagnetic disturbances emanating from the direction Voyager had turned toward. Nothing dramatic, just enough to suggest that something was there, something we hadn't seen before. Then came the final clue. Voyager's plasma wave instrument recorded an abrupt drop in ambient electron density, followed by a localized spike in cosmic ray activity. It was as though something had momentarily disturbed the very structure of the interstellar medium around it, and then the hum stopped. The sudden silence was deafening. Voyager's systems remained intact, its trajectory unchanged. But for those monitoring it, the feeling was undeniable. It had seen something, and it had been seen. As whispers of Voyager's encounter escaped the scientific sphere, speculation erupted globally. Leaked spectrograms of the signal were dissected by amateur cryptographers. Tech enthusiasts attempted to recreate the pulse using homemade radio telescopes. Some even claimed to detect faint echoes, not from space, but from Earth's own magnetic field, as if the signal had bounced back. Changed. Podcasts, think tanks, and media channels exploded with a single, chilling question. What did Voyager 1 find out there? Some theorized it was a passive alien beacon. Others feared it was a warning, a kind of cosmic tripwire left behind by an ancient intelligence, triggered the moment something like us got too close. But perhaps the most disturbing aspect wasn't the signal. It was the silence that followed. NASA postponed press briefings. The Deep Space Network refused further comment. Those closest to the Voyager mission stopped speaking to the public altogether. The wonder began to fade. In its place, unease took hold. As independent investigations continued, one controversial theory began to gain traction. Initially dismissed as science fiction, but now considered a possibility. The idea was simple yet terrifying. Voyager didn't just detect something, it activated it. Physicist Dr. Imani Reeve was among the first to speak out. In a live stream that garnered over 10 million views in a single day, she explained her findings. Based on the harmonic patterns in the signal and the precise orientation shift, she proposed that Voyager had entered a field of artificial gravity, a kind of ancient detection grid possibly older than Earth itself. According to her model, Voyager's long-range radio signal may have triggered a dormant surveillance system, a galactic network embedded in the fabric of space, not to trap, but to observe. In Reeve's words, "We didn't find life. We may have crossed into something that already accounted for us." Then came the final twist. Astrobiologist Dr. Sergio Alvarez, working independently in Argentina, released a paper proposing that Voyager may not be traveling alone anymore. His research focused on subtle anomalies in the flow of interstellar particles around the spacecraft, statistically significant deviations that suggested an object had entered close proximity. Something small, silent, and cold. He called it the shadow object. According to Alvarez, Voyager may have awakened not a ship, not a signal, but an autonomous relic, an artifact left behind by a long-dead civilization. A machine not meant to speak, but to observe, adapt, and perhaps respond. Now it may be following Voyager. No propulsion, no transmissions, just motion, just presence. The data is incomplete. The interpretations remain uncertain. But if these theories are correct, the implications are staggering. Voyager 1 may not have merely crossed the boundary of the solar system. It may have brushed up against a hidden layer of intelligence woven into space itself. For decades, we viewed Voyager as our ambassador to the stars, a symbol of human curiosity and courage. But what if we were wrong? What if it was never alone out there? What if space isn't silent but full of watching eyes, systems that don't sleep, and intelligences that don't announce themselves? What if the silence was never empty but intentional? Now, after nearly half a century, Voyager may have triggered something ancient, something vast, and impossibly aware. And its response wasn't a greeting. It was a signal, a shift, a whisper we were never meant to hear, because maybe we weren't meant to find them. Maybe they were waiting to find us. And now that moment has come. The message has been received, and the universe is watching.